Hey Reddit, I'm not sure where to start with this, but I'm hoping some of you might have some advice or maybe even some empathy, because I'm feeling completely lost right now. So, my name's Mark, and I've been married to my wife, Jenna, for almost 7 years. We don't have kids yet, but we've been talking about starting a family soon. Everything was going well, or at least that's what I thought. Lately, though, I've been feeling like something isn't right. At first, it was just little things, her being distant, coming home late from work a few times, and acting a bit off when we were together. But I tried not to overthink it. Everyone has a rough patch in a marriage, right? I convinced myself it was nothing, that I was just being paranoid. But then, last week, I had this gut feeling that wouldn't go away. Jenna told me she was going out with her friends for a girls' night out. She's done this before, and I never had a problem with it. She's always been social, so I figured it was no big deal. She was excited about it, and that's when I started to notice that her excitement felt a little too excited. That might sound stupid, but the way she got ready, dressed up a little more than usual, extra effort with her makeup, it triggered something in me. Maybe I was overthinking it, maybe I wasn't, but I started to feel uneasy. So, like a dumb idiot, I started watching her more closely. She left the house around 7 p.m., wearing that black dress I always thought looked amazing on her. She told me they were going to the usual bar in town, but the way she kissed me goodbye felt different. It was more like a quick, casual peck, like she was in a rush, like she didn't want to give me a chance to ask questions. I didn't think much of it at the time, but looking back, it was the first sign that I should have paid attention to. Now, here's where I made the first big mistake. I followed her. Yes, I know, this was a huge breach of trust, and I completely regret it, but I felt like I had to know. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I told myself it was just a gut feeling, but I know now that it was a decision driven by fear. I never thought I'd do something like this, but I felt like I had no choice. I drove to the bar where she said she was going, but I didn't park directly near it. I parked a block away and walked up the street to get a better look. Jenna went inside with her friends. At least, that's what I thought at first. I kept watching. Then, about an hour later, something happened that made my heart stop. I saw her leave the bar, not with her girlfriends, but with a guy. I didn't recognize him at first, but they were talking, laughing together, and it was clear that they were more than just friends. I watched them get into a car together, and my heart sank. They drove off in the direction of a hotel near the outskirts of town. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to turn around and leave, but I couldn't. I had to know. I followed them to the hotel and parked in the lot across the street. I sat there for what felt like hours, watching the hotel entrance. I saw them walk inside together. That was when everything inside me broke. I wasn't sure what I was even doing at that point. My mind was racing with questions. Why was she with him? Was she having an affair? How long had this been going on? I eventually left the parking lot, feeling numb. I didn't know what to think, what to feel. I drove home, completely shaken, and just sat in my car in the driveway for a while. The worst part was knowing that I was sitting on a truth I wasn't ready to face. But I knew one thing for sure. I had to confront her. I sat in the driveway for what felt like an eternity. My hands were shaking, my mind was racing, and every ounce of my body was screaming at me to just drive away, pretend I never saw anything, and try to move on. But deep down, I knew I couldn't. I had to know the truth. I couldn't go on living with this gnawing feeling in my gut, constantly wondering if I was just imagining things. So, I did what I should have done hours ago. I went inside. The house felt so quiet, like I was walking into a different reality. Jenna was sitting on the couch, texting on her phone. She looked up when she saw me, her eyes widening a little in surprise. "Hey, Mark, you're home early," she said, trying to sound casual. Her voice was a little too upbeat, a little too rehearsed. I could feel the weight of her words hanging in the air, and I knew in that moment I had to confront her. I stood there for a second, trying to gather my thoughts, trying to calm the storm that was raging inside of me. I didn't want to yell or accuse her without knowing the full story, but the truth was, I had seen enough. The image of her walking into that hotel with another man was burned into my mind. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. My wife had been lying to me, and I had no idea for how long. "Who was that guy, Jenna?" I asked, my voice low but firm. "The one you were with tonight. Who was he?" Her face immediately changed. The calmness she had been holding on to cracked, and for the first time that night, I saw genuine panic in her eyes. She set her phone down on the coffee table and stood up, her hands wringing in front of her, as though she was trying to find the right words. "Mark, it's not what you think," she began, her voice trembling. No. I interrupted, trying to hold back my anger. "Don't lie to me, Jenna. I followed you tonight. I saw you leave the bar with him. I saw you go to that hotel. How long has this been going on?" Her eyes welled up with tears, and I could see that she was struggling to hold it together. "Mark, I swear, I didn't want this to happen. I didn't mean for any of this to happen." I could feel my chest tightening as the words hit me like a punch. "So, you've been seeing him for a while?" I asked, even though I already knew the answer. Jenna sat down, her face buried in her hands. "I didn't want to hurt you," she whispered through sobs. "I've been so confused, Mark. I've been unhappy for months. I know I should have come to you, but I didn't know how. I felt so lost. I felt a mix of emotions that I can't even begin to describe: betrayal, disbelief, anger, but above all, sadness. My wife, the woman I had trusted with my heart, had been hiding this from me. And now, here she was, admitting it, but it didn't make the hurt go away. "So, this guy, Ethan," I said, the name finally clicking in my mind. "You've been with him behind my back? All this time?" She nodded, her tears streaming down her face. "It started a few months ago. It was just emotional at first, but then it became more. I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know how to talk to you. I thought we were drifting apart, Mark. I thought you didn't care about me anymore." The words stung. I had been so caught up in my own life, my own work, that I had missed the signs. But the truth was, I did care. I always had. I just never imagined that this could be happening. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I couldn't let my anger take over, not just yet. "You think I didn't care about you?" I asked, my voice cracking despite myself. "You never once thought to come to me and talk about how you were feeling? You just let it go on, Jenna?" Behind my back, she shook her head frantically. "I didn't know how to fix it, Mark. I was ashamed. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want to lose everything we had. I thought I could fix it on my own, but it got out of control." I stood there, silent for a moment, trying to process everything. The tears were still rolling down her face, and I could see how deeply she regretted what she had done, but it didn't take away the fact that she had cheated. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to scream, to throw everything at her, but another part of me just wanted to walk out and never look back. I didn't know if I could forgive her for this, but I wasn't ready to make any rash decisions. All I could do was sit down, exhausted from the emotional whirlwind I was in. "Mark, I love you," Jenna said, her voice quiet. "I love you so much. Please don't leave me. Please don't give up on us. I'll do anything to fix this. I will prove to you that I can be the woman you need me to be. I'll do whatever it takes." I didn't know if I could believe her anymore, but I didn't know if I was ready to throw away everything we had built. Not yet. Not without giving it some time. The hours after I confronted Jenna felt like an eternity. I couldn't focus. I couldn't think. I didn't know if I wanted to scream, cry, or just shut down entirely. All I could do was sit there, in the quiet of our living room, my mind racing with thoughts I couldn't control. I kept seeing the image of her walking into that hotel with Ethan. I kept hearing the sound of her voice saying, "I love you," but it felt so hollow. How could she love me if she had been hiding this from me for months? Jenna had begged me to stay, to talk, but I told her I needed time to think. I needed space to figure out what I was feeling and what I wanted to do next. Part of me wanted to scream at her, to demand answers for every little thing I had missed over the last few months. How could she have lied to me like this? How could she betray my trust and then expect me to just forgive her? But the other part of me, the part that still loved her, didn't want to give up. I didn't want to throw away everything we had built. We'd been together for so long, and there had been so many good times, so many memories. Could I really walk away from all of that? Was it possible to rebuild after something like this? I spent the night tossing and turning, not able to sleep, not able to stop thinking about the situation. I couldn't believe that the woman I had trusted the most was the one who had hurt me the deepest. But as much as it hurt, I also knew I had to make a decision. I couldn't just keep going back and forth, torn between my anger and my love for her. The next morning, I decided I couldn't do this alone. I called my best friend, Chris. He knew Jenna and me pretty well, and I trusted him to tell me the truth, even if it was hard to hear. I needed someone who could give me a fresh perspective, someone who wasn't emotionally invested in the situation, someone who could help me see things clearly. "Chris, I don't know what to do, man," I said when he answered the phone. Jenna, she's been seeing someone else. I found out last night. I confronted her, and she admitted to it. But I don't know if I can forgive her. I don't know if I can even look at her the same way. Jesus, Mark, I'm sorry, man, Chris said, his voice full of sympathy. That's messed up. I can't even imagine how hard this must be for you. I don't know if I want to keep fighting for this, I confessed. I love her, but I don't know if I can trust her again. How do you even come back from something like this? Chris was quiet for a moment before speaking again. Look, Mark, I can't tell you what to do. You've got to figure out what's best for you. But you've got to ask yourself, can you live with the doubt? Can you live with the feeling that she's lied to you for so long? If you can't move past that, then maybe it's time to walk away. But if you feel like she's worth fighting for, then you've got to make sure she's putting in the work to rebuild the trust. Don't just stay for the sake of staying. Do it because you truly believe you can rebuild together. I sat back, taking in his words. It wasn't easy to hear, but I knew he was right. I had to make a decision, and I had to make it soon. Either I walked away, or I decided to give her the chance to prove that she could change, that she could be honest and trustworthy again. But I couldn't do both. I couldn't stay stuck in this limbo. That afternoon, I called Jenna and told her we needed to talk. I couldn't keep avoiding the conversation. She was still at home when I got back, sitting on the couch, waiting for me. When I walked in, she stood up quickly, her face full of regret and worry. I could see how much she was hurting, but I wasn't sure if that was enough for me to move past what she had done. I'm sorry, Mark, she whispered, her voice shaking. I never wanted to hurt you. I didn't want any of this to happen. I was wrong, and I know I can't take back what I did, but I want to make it right. Please, don't leave me. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. I looked at her, trying to gauge if there was any chance of us moving forward. Was it possible? Was it worth it? Jenna, I began, my voice quiet but steady, I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again. You've hurt me in a way I never thought possible. But I also know that I still love you. I don't want to throw away everything we've built, but I need time. I need to figure out if this is something I can move past or if it's the end for us. Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. I understand. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm asking you to give me a chance. I'll do anything to prove that I can be the wife you need. I didn't have an answer. I didn't know what the future held for us. But I knew one thing. I couldn't make a decision out of anger. I needed time to think, to heal. And I needed her to prove to me that she could be honest, that she could rebuild the trust we once had. The days that followed were some of the hardest of my life. I don't know if I made the right decision by not walking away immediately. Part of me wishes I'd just packed up my things and left, but the other part of me, the part that still loved her, wasn't ready to give up. I wasn't ready to let go of everything we'd built, even though I was now staring at the ruins of it all. Jenna did everything she could to show me that she was committed to making things right. She called me constantly to check in. She texted me, apologizing over and over. I didn't even know if I wanted to hear her voice, but I couldn't bring myself to shut her out completely. Every conversation felt awkward, forced, like we were strangers trying to navigate something that was broken beyond repair. But at the same time, I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to lose her. I didn't want to be the person who threw everything away because of one mistake, one monumental mistake. I kept thinking about the good times we had, the love we shared. Could we go back to that? Could we rebuild something new from the ashes? It wasn't easy. Every time I looked at Jenna, I saw her differently. I saw her as the woman who had betrayed my trust, and that hurt more than anything. She kept telling me that she loved me and was willing to do whatever it took to rebuild our relationship, but there were moments when I didn't believe her. There were moments when I felt like she was only saying what I needed to hear to keep me from leaving. A week had passed, and I was still trying to make sense of everything. I'd been taking some time for myself, spending more time with friends, trying to find some clarity. I knew I couldn't keep going on like this, stuck in a constant state of limbo. I had to make a choice. Either I was going to continue trying to rebuild with Jenna, or I was going to walk away. But how could I make that decision when my heart was still torn? Then one evening, Jenna did something that I hadn't expected. She asked if I wanted to go out to dinner with her. We hadn't done anything like that in weeks. I was hesitant at first, but I agreed. I figured that if I was ever going to make a decision about our future, I needed to see how we acted together, away from everything that had happened. We went to a small restaurant downtown, the kind we used to visit when we were still in the honeymoon phase of our relationship. The place was quiet, intimate, just the way I liked it. We didn't talk much at first, but then Jenna reached across the table, taking my hand in hers. I could feel the warmth of her touch, but there was still that wall between us, that invisible barrier that had been built the moment I discovered the truth about her affair. "Mark," she said softly, her eyes filled with emotion. "I know I've hurt you in ways I can never undo, but I want you to know that I'm committed to making this work. I'm committed to you. I'll do whatever it takes to rebuild your trust." I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to believe her, wanted to believe that she could change. But another part of me, the part that had been betrayed, was too hurt, too scared to take that leap. I wasn't sure if I could move forward. Could I ever truly forgive her? Could I ever trust her again? Or was this just a dream, an illusion of what we used to have? I pulled my hand away, and for a moment, I felt her retreat inside herself. The sadness in her eyes was almost too much to bear, but I had to be honest with her. I had to tell her how I felt. "I don't know, Jenna," I said quietly, my voice barely above a whisper. "I want to believe you. I want to think that we can rebuild. But right now, everything feels so broken. I don't know if I can ever trust you the way I did before. I don't know if I can look at you and not see what you did." Tears welled up in her eyes, and she wiped them away quickly, her voice cracking. "I understand, Mark. I understand that it's going to take time. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I swear to you, I'll do whatever it takes to earn back your trust. I love you, and I'm not going to give up on us." I sat back in my chair, trying to process everything. My heart was heavy, my mind a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. I didn't know if I could do this. I didn't know if I could move forward with someone who had hurt me so deeply. But I also didn't know if I could walk away from everything we had. In the end, I made a decision. I wasn't ready to give up yet. But I told her that if we were going to have a chance, we both needed to put in the work. Me, to try to rebuild my trust, and her, to prove that she was truly committed to making things right. It wasn't going to be easy, but I wasn't ready to let go of the hope that we could rebuild. At least, not yet. It's been a couple of weeks since our dinner, and I feel like I'm living in this state of constant uncertainty. Jenna and I have been taking small steps toward rebuilding, but it's not easy. I've been trying to be open with her, trying to listen to her when she apologizes, but every time I see her, I'm reminded of everything she's done. We've been seeing a marriage counselor, something I never thought we'd need, but at this point, I'm willing to try anything. The sessions are awkward and emotional, and I can feel the walls between us slowly starting to crack. The counselor keeps asking me to express my feelings, and for the first time in weeks, I've started to let some of that anger out. I don't know if it's helping, but I can't keep bottling everything up. I'm still angry, hurt, and confused. Jenna has been doing everything she can to prove that she's committed to fixing things. She's been more present, more available, and she's been trying harder to communicate. I know she's putting in the effort, but part of me wonders if it's too little, too late. I keep wondering if I'll ever be able to trust her again, if the wounds from her betrayal will ever truly heal. And then, there's Ethan, the man she had the affair with. I've tried to push the thoughts of him out of my mind, but it's impossible. Every time she mentions him, or even when I hear the name in passing, I feel this wave of jealousy and anger that I can't seem to control. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive her for what she did with him, for the emotional and physical intimacy they shared. And if I'm being honest with myself, I wonder if the pain of that will always haunt me. One evening, Jenna asked me if I thought we were making progress. It was just the two of us, sitting in the living room after dinner, and for the first time in a while, the atmosphere between us was calm. She had been asking me more often about how I was feeling, and I appreciated it, but it was also hard. It's not easy to share the truth when all you feel is pain and confusion. "I don't know," I said, my voice flat. "Some days, I feel like we're taking steps forward, but other days, it feels like we're just stuck in the same place. I can't keep pretending everything is fine. I don't know if I'll ever be able to fully move past what happened." Jenna looked at me, her eyes wide with fear. She didn't say anything at first, just sat there waiting for me to continue. "I'm still not sure if I can ever forgive you," I finally said, the words heavy in the air. "And I don't know if I'm strong enough to keep trying, to keep pretending that everything's going to be okay. Part of me still wants to fight for us, but another part of me feels like I'm holding on to something that's already broken." Tears filled her eyes as she leaned forward, her voice trembling. "Mark, I don't want to lose you. I've made the biggest mistake of my life, and I'm so sorry. I'll do anything. I swear, I'll do anything to prove that I can be the woman you need. Please don't give up on me." For a moment, I just sat there, looking at her. The pain in her eyes was real, and part of me wanted to believe that we could get through this. But another part of me, the part that was still hurting, that was still questioning everything, wanted to walk away and never look back. "I need more time," I said softly, my voice barely above a whisper. I can't make this decision right now. I don't know if I can forgive you, but I'm not ready to walk away either. I need time to figure out if I can ever trust you again. I need to figure out if we can truly rebuild what we had. Jenna nodded, her face filled with sorrow. I understand, Mark, and I'll be patient. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I'll do whatever it takes to prove I'm worth your trust again. The truth is, I don't know where this is going. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive her. I don't know if I'll ever look at her the same way again. But I'm trying. I'm trying to give her a chance, to let the pain settle, and to figure out if we can rebuild. I don't know if I'll ever fully get past this, but I know that I'm not ready to give up just yet. Every day is a struggle. I feel like I'm living in two worlds, the world where I want to believe in us, in the love we once had, and the world where I see her betrayal every time I look at her. The pain is still fresh, and I don't know if that will ever change. But I've come to realize that no matter what I decide, this is going to be a journey, one that will take time, patience, and a whole lot of healing. I'm not sure where it will end, but I know that I'm not ready to close the door just yet. For now, all I can do is take it one step at a time. And maybe, just maybe, we can find a way back to each other. The days have continued to blur together, each one feeling like a slow-moving weight I have to drag through. I've been taking the time I told Jenna I needed, time to think, to breathe, to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do now. But what I didn't realize is that thinking about it was only making everything harder. The more I thought about what happened, the more I second-guessed every decision I made, every move I took. Could I stay with her? Could I ever look at her without seeing Ethan's face, without feeling like she was lying to me every time she spoke? Jenna's been good about giving me the space I asked for, but I know it's killing her. She hasn't stopped trying to prove she's sorry, but honestly, it's like I'm stuck between two worlds. There are moments when I want to believe her, when I want to trust her again and give us a real shot at healing. But then there are the other moments, the darker moments, when I feel suffocated by everything that's happened. When I feel like no matter how hard she tries, it's never going to be enough. Every time I walk into our home, the place where we've shared so many good memories, it feels different. It feels empty. I can't look at her without seeing the person she was with Ethan. I can't look at her without remembering everything she did behind my back. This morning, Jenna and I had the kind of conversation I'd been avoiding for a while. I'd been pushing it off, pretending like I could figure things out on my own, but I knew it was time. It was time to face the reality of where we were, time to make a decision about what came next. We sat down together, and for the first time in weeks, there wasn't that awkward tension between us. She looked at me with those pleading eyes, the same eyes that had filled with tears when she first admitted to the affair, but this time, there was a different kind of sorrow behind them. Mark, she began softly, her voice shaky. I know you've been struggling with this. I can see it. I see how much this is hurting you. I see how I hurt you. And I don't want to keep pretending like I can fix it all in an instant. I know I've lost your trust. I know I can't undo what I've done. But I'm asking you for a chance. A real chance to show you that I can be the woman you deserve. I looked at her for a long moment, the silence between us heavy with the weight of everything we had been through. I could feel my chest tighten, and for a brief moment, I thought about walking away. I thought about taking the easy way out and ending it right there. But the reality was, I wasn't ready to give up on us yet. Not fully. I'm not sure I can ever get past this, Jenna, I said, my voice thick with emotion. Every time I look at you, I feel like I'm seeing the betrayal. I feel like I'm seeing the lies. It's hard for me to even look at you without remembering what you did. It's not something I can just forget. But at the same time, I'm not ready to throw away everything we've built. I'm not ready to walk away from what we had. She reached for my hand, her fingers trembling. I understand. And I don't expect you to forgive me overnight. I don't expect everything to go back to normal. But I swear to you, Mark, I love you. I'll do whatever it takes to prove that I can earn back your trust. I'm not going to give up on you. On us. We sat there for a long time, just holding hands, letting the words settle between us. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I wasn't carrying this burden alone. I knew that, despite everything that had happened, Jenna was still here, still trying, still fighting for us. But I also knew that I couldn't make a decision in the heat of the moment. Jenna, I need you to understand something, I said, my voice quieter now, but firm. I'm willing to try, but it has to be on my terms. We need to take things slow. I can't just jump back into this like nothing happened. I can't pretend that everything's fine when I'm still hurting. I'm willing to give this a chance, but you need to show me that I'm not making a mistake. I need to feel that I can trust you again, and that's not something that happens overnight. Her face softened, and she nodded, her eyes filled with gratitude. I understand, Mark. I'm not going anywhere. I'll do whatever it takes. I just want you to know that I'm here, and I'm not giving up on us. We're taking it one day at a time now. There are still moments of doubt, moments when I feel like I'm stuck in the past, but we've agreed to keep trying. We've been focusing on rebuilding our communication and spending time together, without rushing. I've started to see small changes in Jenna. She's been more open, more accountable, and she's not afraid to talk about her mistakes anymore. It's a start, but I still don't know if we can truly recover from this. I'm still hurt. I'm still angry. But I'm not ready to give up yet. I'm willing to try, even if I don't know what the future holds. I think that's all I can do right now. Try. And maybe, over time, I'll find that I can forgive her. Maybe I'll find that we can rebuild. Or maybe I'll realize that it's time to move on. For now, I'm choosing to keep moving forward. One step at a time. It's been another few weeks since I last posted, and while I'm grateful for all the advice and support I've received, I'm still stuck. We've been working on rebuilding our relationship, as I mentioned before, but I'm beginning to feel the weight of everything that's happened. Some days, things feel almost normal, and I find myself thinking maybe we can actually make this work. But then, other days, the doubt creeps in, and I question everything all over again. I'm not sure what triggered it this time, but I came home from work yesterday and found Jenna sitting on the couch with her phone in her hand. She quickly put it down when I entered the room, but I saw the look in her eyes, the same look she had in the days leading up to when I first found out about the affair. She wasn't being defensive, but there was something guarded about her behavior that made me feel uneasy. I'm trying not to let my paranoia take over, but after everything that's happened, I can't ignore it. I can't stop wondering if she's hiding something from me. That nagging voice in my head keeps asking, what if she's doing it again? What if all this effort she's putting in is just to win me back long enough to go back to her old ways? Jenna noticed my hesitation, and she asked if I was okay. I don't know what made me do it, but I asked to see her phone. I told myself it wasn't about being controlling, but after everything that's happened, I felt like I needed that small bit of reassurance that she was being honest. To my surprise, she handed it to me without hesitation. There was a moment when I thought that maybe I had misjudged her. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But when I unlocked the phone and saw a recent text from someone named Adam, my heart stopped. The text was innocuous, just a simple, "Hope your day's going well." But my stomach twisted. Who was this Adam? Was he just a friend? Or was this another secret I wasn't supposed to know about? I asked her about it right there and then, and the panic in her eyes said everything. She stammered through an explanation, saying it was just a coworker and nothing more, but I couldn't shake the feeling. I couldn't shake the thought that I was being lied to once again. I didn't confront Jenna right away. I needed time to process what I had just seen. I needed to calm down before I said something I would regret. But the next morning, after a sleepless night of questioning everything, I sat her down. Jenna, I began, trying to keep my voice steady. I saw the text from Adam on your phone last night. I need you to tell me the truth. Who is he? Her face paled, and I could see the guilt creeping up on her again. She started to explain that Adam was just a coworker, that they had met during a work conference a few months ago, and that there was absolutely nothing going on between them. But my mind was racing, and I couldn't just take her word for it. Not after everything that had happened. I told her I needed to hear the truth, and I needed to hear it now. Mark, she said, her voice shaking. I swear, there's nothing between us. I'm committed to you. I'm not hiding anything from you. I know I've messed up, and I understand that you have a right to feel suspicious, but please trust me when I say that I'm not doing anything behind your back. I could see the sincerity in her eyes, but the doubts still gnawed at me. I wasn't sure what to believe anymore. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust that she was telling the truth. But every part of me was afraid of being hurt again, of being betrayed again. I don't know if I can keep doing this, I said quietly. I don't know if I can keep living in this constant state of doubt. I don't know if I can keep questioning every single thing you do. I'm exhausted, Jenna. I can't keep wondering if I'm being lied to. I can't keep feeling like I'm walking on eggshells in my own home. Jenna sat down beside me, her eyes full of regret and tears. Mark, I understand. And I know I've lost your trust. But I'm doing everything I can to show you that I'm here, that I want to make this work. Please don't give up on me. Please don't give up on us. I could feel my resolve crumbling. I still loved her, and part of me wanted to believe that we could get through this. But I couldn't keep living in a world where I constantly doubted her, where I felt like I was being deceived at every turn. I don't know if we can rebuild this, Jenna, I said, my voice heavy with emotion. I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust you again. But right now, all I can do is take it one step at a time. I wish I could say that things have magically improved since that conversation, but I can't. The doubt that I've carried with me for weeks is still there, gnawing at my insides. I can't stop questioning everything Jenna does. I want to believe her when she says she's committed to fixing this. I want to believe that we can somehow rebuild our relationship. But I keep wondering if I'm just lying to myself, hoping for something that might never happen. After the conversation with Adam's text, I felt like we were back at square one. It wasn't so much about the text itself. It was more about the fact that this wasn't the first time I had felt the sting of betrayal. It felt like a pattern I couldn't ignore anymore. Every time I thought we were making progress, something would happen to remind me of the past, to remind me of what she did with Ethan, and it would feel like we were taking 2 steps back. Jenna's been trying. I know she has. She's been more present, more open about her feelings, and she's been going above and beyond to show me that she's not hiding anything from me. She's been open with her phone, her schedule, everything. But even with all of that, the fear that I'm being deceived again lingers. I wish I could just turn it off, trust her without hesitation, but every time I do, I feel vulnerable, like I'm setting myself up to be hurt again. Yesterday, I sat down with Jenna for what was probably the most difficult conversation we've had in a long time. I knew I couldn't keep going like this, pretending everything was okay when my heart was still broken and my mind was still filled with doubt. Jenna, I began, my voice trembling slightly. I need to be honest with you about how I'm feeling. I don't think I can keep living in this limbo. I don't know if I can keep trying to rebuild something that's been shattered, and I don't know if I'm ever going to fully trust you again. Her face fell, but she didn't interrupt. She just sat there, listening, waiting for me to continue. I could see the pain in her eyes, the way she was taking responsibility for everything that had happened. And part of me wanted to say the words that would make her feel better, to tell her that I was willing to fight for us. But the truth was, I wasn't sure anymore. I want to believe you, Jenna, I continued, my voice soft. I really do. But it's so hard. Every time I look at you, I see the person who lied to me. I see the person who betrayed my trust, and I don't know how to erase that from my mind. I don't know if I can keep doing this. Jenna reached across the table, her hand trembling as she grasped mine. Mark, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I've done irreparable damage. But I love you. And I'm so sorry for everything I've put you through. I'm not asking for forgiveness right away. I'm asking for a chance, just one more chance to prove to you that I can be the wife you deserve. I could hear the sincerity in her voice, and for a moment, I wondered if that was enough. Was it enough that she was trying? Was it enough that she was sorry? But then I remembered all the sleepless nights, all the moments of doubt, the constant fear that I was being lied to again. Was that something I could live with? Could I live in a relationship where I constantly questioned the truth? I didn't want to, but I knew I couldn't pretend everything was fine if I wasn't feeling it. In the end, the decision I have to make is simple, yet incredibly difficult. I have to decide whether I can live with the uncertainty. I have to decide if I'm willing to risk my heart again, to allow myself to trust her, knowing full well that my vulnerability could lead to the same heartbreak. Or do I walk away now, before I get in deeper, before I let myself be hurt again? Jenna has been patient with me. She's given me the space I asked for, and she's shown me, in so many ways, that she wants to make this work. But I know that trust isn't something you can just fix overnight, and the damage that's been done isn't something that can be erased with words or promises. It's something that takes time, something that will take all the effort we can muster. I told her last night, after we finished our conversation, that I needed more time. I couldn't make a decision yet, not when my heart was torn between the hope that we could rebuild and the fear that I was just setting myself up for more pain. Jenna understood. She didn't ask for an immediate answer, and she didn't push me to make a decision I wasn't ready for. So here I am, standing at the crossroads. I don't know what the future holds for us. I don't know if I can ever fully forgive her, or if we can ever return to the way things were. But I also don't know if I'm ready to walk away from everything we've built. I can't make that decision yet. All I can do is take it one day at a time and trust that, in time, I'll find the clarity I need to make the right choice.